This is not the Brazilian rainforest, nor the jungles of Malaysia. It's Italy, specifically Tuscany, where at the top of this hill sits this 200-year-old stone farmhouse we just bought.
Come on, we're almost there.
I'm coming. What am I, Gunga Din? And you may be wondering what Phil and Nancy Duran, maybe with Brentwood, California, are doing. Ouch! They just bit me.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. You think there's snakes around here?
Instead of the weeds, why don't you show the magnificent view?
She's right. This is fantastic. La Bella Toscana, home of Michelangelo, Lucretia Borgia, and now us, if we have the initiative, the will, and the money to turn this ancient pile of rock into the modern, livable domicile of our dreams. The year this house was built, Thomas Jefferson was President of the United States, and Napoleon and his army probably marched right by here, chasing the Austrians out of Italy.
In questa casa non devi sentire mai la mancanza di pane, vino e amore.
What does that mean?
It means, may this house never be without bread, wine, and love.
Nancy's been coming here for years in her work as a marble sculptor, and she's fluent in Italian.
Porca Madonna Dio bestia!
Real fluent. As you can see, this house is the perfect size for its current occupants, the scorpions and the spiders, but for two full-size of Americans, it's a little cramped.
We'll make it bigger. It'll be simple.
This being Italy, nothing's ever simple, even though we got this place. In addition to the usual Byzantine maze of Italian bureaucracy, the real estate came with an added set of complications. You see, the house was originally owned by the Pingatori family. Brother Marino and his wife, Brother Duati and his wife, and Sister Vesuvia. And since our house and its acre and a half of olive trees sits plunk in the middle of their properties, they all wanted it, for their children, of course. But since they all hate each other, they couldn't agree on how to split it. So after years and years of bickering, the issue was brought before the family council of the 5 cousins, which resulted in even more bickering until finally, Grandpa Pingatori made a decision. The house would be put up for sale, and if they were patient, sooner or later, some fool would come along and buy it.
That's where we came in.
You see, there was no road leading up to the house, essentially limiting the sector of their home buying market to either mountain goats or stranieri.
That means foreigners.
In other words, anyone naive enough to believe that all you had to do was just put in a road. Which we did, totally unaware of the consequences.
It turns out that we put in the road abusivo, meaning illegally, which is done all the time. However, somebody issued a denuncia against us.
We don't know who denounced us, but that brought us all kinds of grief from the Comune dei Camaiori, which is exactly what they had in mind. We'd put in the road and get so discouraged by all the problems it created, we'd give up and sell it back to them with a brand new road. But I don't think they understand. We're Americans. Did we give up at Valley Forge? Did we give up on Guadalcanal? Did we give up in Camaiori? Yes, we did, because they were really mean to us. Well, we actually didn't give up, but we did need to decide if this house, and even if the whole idea of living here in Italy, was really worth it. So, faced with this impenetrable problem, we did what any good Italians would do. We ate. Nancy whipped up some gnocchi, which she learned to make from a friend of ours, Fernando. He's the chef at an excellent local restaurant called Dashi, and while Nancy observed, I took a few notes for myself. Pecorino, mozzarella, and Romano cheeses are combined in a meat grinder, or you can use a food processor. Fernando was using Swiss chard today because it looks slightly fresher than the spinach he usually buys. After the chard is cooled in cold water, it's minced and drained. He combines the chard and cheeses, adding flour, lots of flour. A chicken coop full of eggs. Mixes it all together with his arm, and forming the gnocchi with a spoon, he drops them in the boiling water. Just before the gnocchi's finished, Nando drops them in cold water to stop the boiling process. The gnocchi can sit there until company arrives and are all ready to eat. And as we ate, we weighed the pros and cons of living here. And one of those pros is definitely the food,
And the shopping, all those great stores.
which are always closed.
And the spectacular art.
If you can get in to see it.
Or the sheer magnificence of the land. Everywhere you look, there's beauty.
Yeah.
Okay, but you really got to admit, the best thing about living here is the people.
That's true. Despite our run-ins with the infamous Pingatore clan, our dealings with the Italian people were wonderful. They're warm, outgoing, happy, and friendly. Like our landlords, Alberto and Gabri, we had just moved into the apartment and they invited us over for homemade pizza baked in their backyard forno.
Oh, that pizza was fantastic.
And that seems to have settled it. Despite the fact that every banker, architect, or contractor we talked to seemed to be connected by either blood or money to the Pingatores, who will no doubt be trying to undermine us at every turn.
And despite having to grovel and plead with the powers that be.
Despite all that, we're staying.
And starting June 2001, we begin construction.
So, if you're interested in following the adventures of a couple of strangers in paradise trying to build their dream home and find happiness amidst a swirling tempest of angry jealousies and ancient blood feuds, come join us in Tuscany. Welcome back, you hear?